Greetings, students, and welcome to this special edition of The Professor Travel. I am your host, The Professor Travel, coming to you from Orange County, California. This is the website, the vlog, and the podcast that you come to in order to learn more about different travel destinations. This is where we come as a community in order to discuss more. Hopefully, this will inspire you to travel more and ultimately to enjoy life more. Now, you can reach me at a variety of different locations online, including my website, which is at theprofessortravel.com, on YouTube, on Facebook, and now on TikTok. You can reach me at theprofessortravel. If you're on Instagram, you can find me there at the_professor_travel. If you're a Twitter, you can find me on Twitter at theprofessortr1. And then finally, if you are a blogger, you can find me on Blogspot at theprofessortravel.blogspot.com. Today we have two visiting professors. Mallory, is it Pfeffer? I want to make sure I got it right. Oh, good. Oh, thank goodness. And then Andrew Pickhard. How are you both doing today?
Good. Not bad. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much. I understand the weather's a little bit challenging up in your area right now. Is that correct?
Yep, it's very wintry, Wisconsin-y.
Oh, but I'm sure it's beautiful as well. So we'll learn a little bit more about that as we start to go through this presentation. But before we get started, I'd love my students to learn a little bit more about you. So can you maybe share a little bit about either your educational background or some places that you've traveled before?
Sure. I'm a born Wisconsinite, and I've lived here my entire life. And I love the Caribbean. I've been to several islands, and other than that, I've been to New Zealand, and it is amazing there.
Wow. I'm planning on going there. I say planning because, of course, we're in the middle of COVID right now when this is being recorded, but I am planning to go to Australia and New Zealand at the end of the year. So keep my fingers crossed for that. How about you, Andrew?
So I've also lived in Wisconsin for most of my life, besides a little stint in North Dakota and Ohio. My background is I've got a mechanical engineering degree from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And for travel, I've got a pretty diverse travel history. So I've been to a lot of different regions, both international and domestic. And a few years ago, I got to do a trip all the way around the world to 4 different continents. So,
wow. How many countries have you been to, do you think?
About 30.
Okay, so you've actually got me beat. I've gone 23. So we are going to have to communicate, you and I, on this a little bit more. So we'll touch base in the future on some of these. So again, the purpose of this specific vlog and podcast is to discuss the great state of Wisconsin. So I really don't know that much about it, and I'd love to get a little bit more information from you guys about your home state. So can you tell me a little bit more about the history of Wisconsin?
Sure. Wisconsin was found by French explorers first. Jean Nicolet and Jacques Marquette. Originally, the fur trade was dominating the trading industry, and once Wisconsin became part of the territorial U.S., the economy shifted from fur trading to lead mining. And lead mining is what drew immigrants in, and they built their homes on the side of the hills, and that's where the nickname Badgers came in.
Now I got it.
Yep. And Wisconsin became a state on May 29th in 1848. It is the 30th state. The Erie Canal brought Germans, Irish, and Scandinavians in to settle.
Sorry, a little technical glitch. We're back.
Our agricultural industry started with wheat in the 1860s.
Okay.
There was, lumber industry to the north. And then after a while, the forests were diminished and bad soil fertility. So we had to switch to dairy farming.
Which is huge in Wisconsin, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool.
The Packers won the first Super Bowl in 1967, and they won the second one in 1968.
Well, and they just keep going, don't they?
Yeah.
So very cool. Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about the geography of the area. I'm really kind of curious about this. What are the states that surround you?
Wisconsin is in the upper Midwest.
Okay.
Michigan, Upper Peninsula is to our north. Minnesota is to our west. And we have a little bit of Iowa and then Illinois is to the south. We have some Great Lakes as neighbors. So we have Lake Michigan to the east and Lake Superior to the north. And Wisconsin has the third largest length of shorelines in the Great Lakes.
Okay, very, very cool. Awesome. And we talked a little bit about weather earlier. I don't want to give the false impression that you live in an igloo or anything like that, because it can be cold in your area. But talk to me a little bit about what does the weather look like during the year? Like, do you have 4 seasons? And if so, like, is like summer like 1 week, or like, I don't understand how, like, talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. We have a very wide range and we definitely have 4 seasons.
Okay.
In the winter, we experience negative temps, especially with the wind chill factored in. And we also experience summer heat and humidity. It can get pretty intense. Between those extremes, the weather is nice. We embrace the seasons
Okay.
with the various activities.
What do you have in terms of, like, do you have any major inclement weathers like blizzards, tornadoes, hurricanes, anything like unusual craziness?
Polar vortexes and
Yes.
thunderstorms.
Oh my gosh, that's that could definitely drive down the temperature, I would imagine.
Yep, one is supposed to hit tomorrow. So,
Do you know what the weather is forecasted for tomorrow, or like what it's supposed to be?
Around 0 the whole day.
0. Great. Yeah, I'll come and visit you guys in summer. We'll leave it at
yes,
that.
summer is definitely good.
But there's a lot of wonderful culture in your state. There's a lot of wonderful things to take part in. Let's take a little bit of a look at each of these. Is there a predominant religion in the state that really is much more pronounced than other religions in your area?
Predominantly Christian.
Okay.
And
Any
then
major denominations?
and
Okay.
Protestant. Yep.
Okay, got it. Okay. What about in terms of the arts? Whether it's museums, any famous paintings, writers, actors, things like that? I mean, I have a few of them listed on the screen here, including Mark Ruffalo, Gene Wilder, and Oprah Winfrey, for example.
Chris Farley is from Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And that photo is the Milwaukee Art Museum.
Okay. It's beautiful.
And in a few films like Transformers, it is a work of art in itself. Those wings on it actually are retractable and they go in when it gets windy.
Oh, wow. That's impressive. Very, very cool. Awesome. Very neat. What about in terms of language in your area? Is it predominantly English, or are there any like French influences from the Canada area?
It is primarily English, and Spanish would be second.
Okay, wonderful. Now, one of my favorite subjects, food. Let's talk about food and drink, by the way, in Wisconsin. Talk to me, what are the things that a person who has no experience going to Wisconsin, what should they expect?
We are proud cheeseheads. We're the dairy state. So obviously cheese, milk, ice cream, frozen custard is kind of our specialty. And bratwurst, we have a German influence, so brats are very popular, especially in Sheboygan, which is a city on Lake Michigan. My favorite brats, though, are from Carl's Country Market, and they're the state champion brats in Menominee Falls, where I grew up.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Wisconsin is big on Friday fish fries and supper club type vibes. And then our state drink is the brandy old fashioned. And that drink has been around so long that it is my 101-year-old grandma's favorite drink.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, coming from California, we have a huge wine industry here, but I understand you guys have a little bit of a beer industry over in your area.
Yes. Our biggest breweries would be Pabst and Miller, and then Leinenkugel's is from Wisconsin also.
That's excellent. In fact, you guys are like, one of you is wearing a shirt, like, actually, you're both wearing shirts, like, there you go.
Yeah.
Proud of your breweries in the area.
Yes.
Proud of everything that supports them. Mm-hmm.
One more is New Glarus. And New Glarus is very popular, but you can only buy it here, and they do not sell it out of our state lines.
Well, that seems horrible. I mean, No, I guess it means that people have to come and visit you in order to
Yeah.
get the really good stuff. So that makes perfect sense. So very good. What about in terms of sports teams? I understand that you guys have a football thing over in your area. Is that right?
Yes, we love the Badgers and the Packers. We also have the Milwaukee Bucks, the NBA team, and the Milwaukee Admirals is our hockey team. It's not NHL, but it's
It's minor.
yeah, it's minor. And then the Milwaukee Wave is the soccer team, professional indoor soccer team.
Excellent. I don't suppose you guys have a baseball team out there of any sort, do you?
Yes, and the Milwaukee Brewers.
Of course.
Yes, but it's
Wonderful.
not Miller Park anymore, so that's kind
Uh-oh.
of sad.
Where are they playing now?
They're playing there, but they changed the name of the
Oh, the park
stadium.
itself? Oh,
Yep,
okay.
to
Got it.
American Family Insurance, AmFam Stadium.
Well, yeah, there you go. I'm sure they paid for the naming rights. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
So, now just out of curiosity, is there any major holidays or any events that go on in your area that you celebrate during the course of the year that's distinctive to your state?
I would say Milwaukee is known for the festivals in the summertime. I would say the biggest one is Summerfest, which is 10 days long, over 100 bands on 10 stages. It's the world's largest outdoor music festival. And then we also have Pride Fest and Polish Fest, German Fest, Festa Italiana, and Irish Fest too.
They sound like incredible events that I would have to go and visit because, again, I could imagine only the best street food would be there, so it has to be incredible. So,
Yes. Yep. And then the last one would be Fish Day, and that's in Port Washington, which is right on Lake Michigan. They have Fish Day every year, and that is the world's largest outdoor fish fry.
nice. Okay, very, very cool. I would love that personally. I think that would be fantastic to come and visit. Talk to me a little bit about the population of your state. Now, Andrew, you said earlier that you happen to know what the population is. Is that correct?
Yep, so it's about 5.8 million people.
5.8 million. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to point out a couple places on this map where there's a larger contingent of population. Like, where is this right here? What city population is that?
That is Milwaukee, and in the metropolitan area, there's 1.6 million people there.
Okay.
That's
What about, if I can, whoops, I'm going to fall back here. What about this area around this little lake here?
and that is Madison, which is our capital, and around there is about 600,000 people.
Okay. And then finally, looks like there's a little population center just on this inlet of this lake here.
Yep, that's Green Bay up there, and then also right down to the kind of southwest of that, we've got Appleton, which is another kind of more industrial city up there. So.
Okay, but it looks like for the most part, there's a lot of rural farming communities and things throughout the state itself. Again, weather permitting, as the year goes on, I imagine. So. Excellent. In terms of the economy, though, I have a few companies that have listed here that I made mention of that are huge employers within your area, including Kohl's and Tyco, Kohler, Ashley Furnitures, Fiserv, Johnson Controls, and it's not Maynard, it's Menards.
Menards.
Is that, what do they do?
It's a lot like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. It's a home improvement store that's a little bit cheaper than Lowe's. So
you love Menards.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I've never heard of them, but apparently you guys have. You're like, oh, no, it's Menards. And they actually have a jingle that you were humming to me earlier. So I was like, but are there any major companies or organizations that I've left off here that you're like, oh, I can't even believe he didn't remember that, or he didn't mention that?
Yeah, there's a couple other ones that people probably heard of in some places in the U.S. have heard of Culver's, which is like
the frozen custard. Yeah,
the frozen custard. Also Milwaukee Tool, Mercury Marine, Miller Brewing Company, and Harley Davidson.
Oh, Harley! Totally forgot about them. Oh, how did I get forget about Harley? That's crazy. But yeah, Miller Brewing Company. Also, I can't even. It's early. I'm sorry to my students. I apologize. So yeah, a great number of resources there. What about as far as travel and transportation? How are the roads in your state? Are they well maintained? Are there some areas of improvement? How would you rate the roads compared to the travels that you've done throughout other states?
I mean, in general, they're pretty decent. There's definitely, they say there's winter and construction season here, so that's something you gotta contend with during summer, spring, and into the fall. Uh, but yeah, in general, the interstates you can get around pretty quick by car.
No tolls.
Yeah, no
No
toll.
tolls. Okay, that's a selling point right away for me.
Yeah.
So, Mallory, what about in terms of any airports or major international airports, any ocean ports or lake ports, and or major train depots? Anything that really stands out to you?
We have Milwaukee International Airport, Mitchell International, and
Okay.
then say Madison.
And Appleton's going to be their largest. Uh,
Is Appleton international or is it regional?
I think it is technically international, but it's kind of an on-demand international.
Okay. What about in terms of travel and tourism? Do you guys have any major amusement parks or anything that stands out to you as like, oh, this is a major complex of entertainment for our area?
Definitely, I mean, besides the cities, it'd definitely be the Wisconsin Dells,
Okay.
where it's the water park capital of
The
the
world.
world. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, very cool. That has to be seasonal though. I mean, like I can't imagine it open in the winter.
It's both. There's outdoor and indoor. Lots of resorts that offer both.
Okay, good. Good to know. That's important. So awesome. Now, let's briefly talk about the government within your area. I am told, and at least during the voting season, that Wisconsin is a swing state for the most part on the federal level. Um, is that the same locally in terms of your state government too, as far as is it both primarily conservative and liberal? Would you say like a mix of that?
It in general, the state government, the legislator tends to lean towards the conservative side due to kind of how the rural versus urban uh, portions in the state. So the governors have gone back and forth quite a bit between Democrats and Republicans. So it is kind of a swing state.
It's kind of a mix, it sounds like. So it just depends on like what year and who's in control, I guess, at that point. But it mirrors for the most part, would you say state legislature as well as federal? They're both that mix, would you say?
The state legislator tends to be more Republican,
Okay.
but no.
Good to know. Now, in terms of the natural resources or the things that are, cultivated resources within your area, obviously the soil for growing things. There's a lot of farmland and different types of farms within your area, as well as water, clearly for breweries, and then of course, dairy is a huge thing within your area. Are there any other resources that maybe I've left out that are like super super? You're like, I can't believe you didn't mention that.
I'd say forest products in the northern part of Wisconsin is pretty big. The Appleton Green Bay area has a lot of paper mills,
Okay.
industry, so that's important.
Is coal or iron or steel anything like that in your general area?
No, we do some rock mining, like what's in the falls, Brandon.
Yep. Then.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
Awesome.
then one other thing to mention is cranberries.
Cranberries.
Yep, we produce 64% of the cranberries in the nation.
Well, that is, there's definitely one time a year I think about that, and it's definitely during November. So I love cranberries and cranberry sauce. So that's my jam, so to speak. See what I did there? Now, in terms of education, obviously, University of Wisconsin came up. Marquette, obviously, Lawrence University. Are there any other major universities that I'm not thinking about that you're like that's a huge university and it's a major one within our area?
MSOE would be the other, Milwaukee School of Engineering would be the other kind of bigger private one.
Okay.
And then the UW system comprises of 13 different universities as well. So it's
Okay.
definitely a big university, and UW Madison is the biggest
Of them.
system.
And then in terms of the literacy rate within Wisconsin, it's pretty high up there.
Yeah, it's above average. It's 93%.
Okay, wonderful. And then finally, in terms of safety and security within your state, I know there's been some events, in fact, some recent events, um, with some crime or some domestic issues. But in general, in terms of foreign and domestic terrorism threats, I don't really think of anything that comes to mind except for, that one event that happened last year. Where was that located at?
Kenosha.
Kenosha, Wisconsin. Okay. But that's kind of unheard of. That's, I mean, for the most part, and like one would say, when you go into a city, you obviously know the places that you're trying to avoid, and places that make you feel more comfortable. But is there any domestic or terrorism issues that you've been made aware of in terms of within your state that a traveler should be aware of?
No, not besides the general, safety
Just
stuff.
just being safe. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So normally when I wrap up, I usually ask for like a quick elevator speech. It's like, okay, I have a ticket, a round trip ticket to Wisconsin. You guys have like 60 seconds to sell it to me. What do I want to know? Why do I want to go there? Why do I want to spend my ticket to go to Wisconsin? Talk to me a little bit about that.
You should come in spring, summer, or fall.
Okay.
Come for a festival, a brewer game.
Outdoor recreation. You got fishing, you got boating up here. We've got the Door County, which we didn't mention earlier.
Yep, Door County is on the peninsula of Lake Michigan in Green Bay, and it is absolutely beautiful, year-round beautiful.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Now, and by the way, thank you very much for sharing that with myself and my students. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for, doing this interview with me. I really like to learn a little bit more about the states, and I know a lot more today now than I did about Wisconsin even 10 minutes ago. So thank you so much for sharing that. Before we get going though, you guys are actually active in the brewery community, correct? You guys work with a couple of breweries, don't you?
Yeah, more than a couple. We work for designyourtap.com, which produces beer tap handles for anybody basically. So whether you're a home brewer or you're a brewery that distributes, so we ship coast to coast, and that's one good thing about being in Wisconsin too.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. And they can reach more information about that at www.designyourtap.com, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Wonderful. Well, Mallory and Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it. And I know my students do as well.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, for my students that are out there, if you have any questions or comments, you can certainly reach me at scott@theprofessortravel.com. If you like this video and you want to see more of this, you can certainly click the thumbs up on your YouTube channel. If you want to know when new videos are being launched, hit that little bell icon right above the screen. And if you haven't already done so, please feel free to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps the channel out. We really appreciate it. So, and of course, I can't forget, if you're listening to us on the podcast, feel free to give us a review. We really appreciate that. But until our next time, my name is Scott. I am the Professor of Travel, and make every day a travel adventure. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.